Thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, I'm your host, Aaron Smith. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you're loving the Civil War Battle of Gettysburg videos and this content. I'm really close to 100 subscribers. I'm right there, 20 more people to go. So please, if you're watching, please hit that subscribe button and check me out. I'm coming at you today from the Forward Gettysburg Ranch because we are talking Civil War firearms, specifically the Colt 1851 Navy Revolver. Now, this particular gun is a reproduction made by Uberti, a relatively inexpensive firearm. I think this one was around $350. It came in a kit where it also came with some cleaning supplies, some balls, some little brass containers for all your gunpowder, stuff like that. But either way, it's a fairly faithful reproduction. This gun is a lot of fun, and this is a gun that you would have seen on the Civil War battlefield. The 1851 Revolver would have been carried by a lot of your officers, your lieutenant colonels, your majors, maybe even your captains. This was loved by the cavalry as well. This was a great weapon to pull out and shoot easily from horseback. And you could shoot 6 shots without reloading. That was incredible for the time. That was the state-of-the-art firearms technology. This gun also would have been used by the artillery. Perhaps your field officer for the artillery would have one of these. And the incredibly sad thing about this is obviously the artillery is not going to be fighting off any type of enemy soldiers with this. No, this is not what this was given to them for. This was given to them so that they could put down their horses if they had to. The horses and pack animals for the artillery were incredibly vital to the artillery operations. And if any of those animals went down, those men didn't want to see those animals suffer, and they also didn't want to be slowed down if they happened to be marching through enemy territory to tend and care for their injured horses. So a bit of a weird cutaway right now, but the audio on my original filming out in the field was really staticky, and I'm not sure if I was just tugging on the cord the wrong way or what have you, but I'm not going to subject my loyal viewers to that god-awful audio. That's so 20 videos ago, Forward Gettysburg. But either way, the Colt 1851 Revolver, gorgeous revolver. This was top-of-the-line technology in the Civil War era. We would have 6 shots right here in the cylinder. This is a 7.5-inch octagonal barrel. Colt also produced an 1860 Army revolver as well. Now, some of the key things to look for, one is caliber. The original production of this would have been in 36. Now, this one is in 44. You know, I wanted to go for something that had a little bit more of a big iron energy to it, a little more of a big iron profile to it. So I went with the 44. Instead of the 36. But during the Civil War, this would have been in 36. The Colt Army would have been in 44. The Navy Revolver, as you can see here, has an octagonal barrel, whereas the Army would have had a rounded barrel, and that was just due to ease of manufacturing at that point. It takes a lot more manufacturing. It's a little bit more expensive, especially at that time, to, you know, polish off and get these octagonal edges versus the rounded edges. Now, I will say that I think the octagonal edges are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and that's not taken away from the 1860 Colt whatsoever. As you guys can see here, there is a depiction of a naval battle here. And when Sam Colt originally got the patent for, or not the patent, but the contract for this, for the revolver from the U.S. Army, he was actually from the U.S. Navy originally. He did this engraving as a thank you, and this is a battle from the Mexican-American War. Very nice, very intricate, you guys can see here. I apologize for my ugly hands. There we go. That's a little bit better. No more ugly hands. But either way, absolutely gorgeous gun. Originally, the contract was for the Navy, but it became so popular that the Army picked it up as well. This was a gun that was used prevalently throughout the Civil War and even by Wild West gunfighters. For example, Wild Earp, probably one of the most famous Wild West gunfighters, loved his 1851 and actually preferred it to some of the single action armies that were floating around at the Wild West that time. This is a fairly accurate gun. I've never had any issues with it. Black powder, of course, can be difficult to clean. But nonetheless, you get an hour, 2 hours worth of fun out of it, spend an hour cleaning. To me, that's definitely worth it. Brass frame. So they do make conversion kits for this if you wanted to convert it to like 44 special, but I wouldn't recommend it with the brass frame. You definitely want to make sure you have a steel frame. The last thing you want is a hand grenade going off in your hand. That wouldn't be good. But nonetheless, like I said, I do apologize for the awkward transition. I'm just pretty much summarizing all I said in a lot less words here at the kitchen table, and now back to wherever it was I left off at out in the field. I feel like I get the best of both worlds. It's in God's caliber 44, but it also is a fairly faithful reproduction. I usually have this piece hanging up on a little presentation thing in my house on a dresser, just to look really nice in the house. So without further ado, let's get a little bit more into the operations and how do we load this thing. So how do we load the Colt 1851 revolver? Before I get into this, I'm going to apologize. My hands are probably raw. It is incredibly chilly out here. Winter has hit central Pennsylvania, and there is no denying it whatsoever. It is chilly, it is cold, but let's get into it. First of all, a couple things. For handling any gun, we need to make sure we know our 4 rules of firearm safety. Those rules being: keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. Always treat a gun as if it's loaded. Never point your barrel at anything you don't intend to destroy, and be aware of your target and what is beyond it. So, a couple supplies we have here. I have this Hodgkin Pyrex P. It's the FFG equivalent. If you were to get black powder, you would need FFG. However, black powder is pretty unobtainium in my neck of the woods, especially given how things are cooling off a little bit from like the firearms rush around the elections, but they're still a little bit difficult to find. So I'm using Pyrex. You're going to need your black powder, your balls here. Hornady always usually makes like the best ammunition. I love Hornady. That's what I use in my concealed carries and all that kind of stuff. So either way, we have these. These are .454 caliber lead balls here. Now you might be thinking, well, that's a 44. Why is it .454? Well, we'll get into it during the loading process, but essentially you want this to seat and fill in the entire part of the cylinder. And you'll actually see when we load it, there will be a little lead ring that comes out. That's how you know it's seated. And that's going to go into helping prevent chain fires as well. So those are our balls. We have our wads here. The wads are just another safety measure. Some people might use these, some people don't. I like to use the wads just as a redundant safety measure to prevent chain fires. Having all your chambers fire while you're trying to fire just one sounds pretty god-awful. I have my powder in here, powder measure. Now, the way I do it might be a little bit different than how other people do it. As of right now, I'm putting in about, I think I have this set to about 27 grains of black powder, 30 grains of black powder, somewhere in there. And then we have our percussion caps. Again, CCI, another incredible ammunition maker. CCI, they make great products. If you shoot 22, the CCI 22 rounds, the 22 long rifle rounds, are probably some of the best around that you can get. They're very, very, very consistent. You don't have a whole lot of missed fires with the CCIs. So these are percussion caps. These are number 10 percussion caps. As always, be careful with percussion cap when you're handling it. You don't want to pinch it too hard or anything like that. You don't want it to go off in your hand. That sounds like a pretty funny emergency room story there. And then we have our hearing protection. I have the electronic hearing protection, but if you guys just have, a basic pair of earplugs, that'll do just fine. Compared to other things, black powder isn't too loud, but you still, if you're having a good day at the range, you don't want to wake up the next morning with that ringing in your ears, that tinnitus. So it's always a good idea to wear hearing protection. And then eye protection as well. I wear glasses, so that's, I'm going to call that good enough. But you should have some kind of, if you don't have glasses, some kind of protection on your ears. So, loading the 1851 revolver. All right, obstruction actually clear this time, so we can continue loading this up. I'm just going to go chamber by chamber. See, we got our wad in right there. Stick the ball down, roll it under, and boom. Pull it down. You can make out the ring there. I'm going to get rid of all this extra powder. I don't like that. I'm not very good at this game, guys. All right, first up, we've got this mean looking Billy Yank, who's definitely not made out of an old pizza box. He's missing a couple teeth. It's been a rough few years. And he's got his little kepi on. He's got some facial hair there, I guess, and he's looking pretty mad. So let's pour it into him, boys. This firearm is loaded. I have my hearing protection on. I have my eye protection on. Still unsafe. I'm gonna cock it back, pull the trigger once. Next chamber up. This gun is now fully loaded and ready to fire. So let's take out this Johnny Reb right here. Now, between your shots, you want to make sure you aim up so that when you cock it back, that cap is going to fall off. Let's set up our next target. There's still more Johnny Rebs in these woods. Well, guys, I found this ugly son of a bitch hanging out there, and I'm thinking he's asking for it. All right, like I said, this is now a loaded gun. All right, Johnny Reb, you get yours. Yep. Misfire. Let's see if the next one's better. I think we got him, but we're gonna have to do something a little more explosive than that. All right, let's see if we can get something a little bit more exciting. Still hit the target, even though I'm like 5 yards away from it. I'm gonna aim down a little bit lower, right for that ugly nose of his. There we go. That was a good one. All right, guys, it looks like I spotted the most dastardly Johnny Reb of them all. Colonel very expensive winter watermelon is right over there, and we've been tasked with taking him out. All right guys, so I got 2 loaded this time, and I'm gonna be shooting this dastardly watermelon. If you've ever tried to buy watermelon at the end of November, don't. It's expensive as hell. I think I might have paid like $7 for that watermelon, but I'm gonna shoot it for YouTube, for you guys, because that's really what you all came here to see, is a watermelon blow up. I could kind of like Gallagher, but with an old-timey firearm, I suppose. Those of you who are younger than 30 probably have no idea who Gallagher is. But anyway, I have 2 loaded up here, so I'm gonna cycle through. All right, next one is the loaded one. Just kidding, I only put a cap on 1, but I think 1 is enough to do the job. Make sure the camera doesn't fall again. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Absolutely devastating. Well, I think that'll be a nice treat for the deer. I think the deer are gonna appreciate that a whole lot tonight. Anyway, well, that's pretty much all I have for this episode. Uberti, Colt 1851 Navy revolver, made by Uberti, made in Italy. Nonetheless, an incredibly fun gun. Something that's great for the Civil War enthusiast in your life, something that's great for the firearms enthusiast in your life, something that's great for you, and I won't tell the wife, trust me. Either way, check it out. Great gun, lots of fun. This one's unloaded. Before you guys got panicky about me waving it around here, don't worry, it's unloaded, I promise. But either way, lots of fun, and it's cool to own a piece of history. It's cool that these are still reproduced in some numbers. Like I said, this one is not that expensive. I think it was around $350. Add in powder and everything, you got a pretty decent price. So either way, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys on the next one.